So I'm going to speak to a little bit about a particular view I get of Nick for a long time now. But I'll start with the fact that we met in January 2005. We were being honoured at this event called G'day LA, which sounds a bit like a pickup line from Crocodile Dundee.
They told us it was the one Hollywood marriage immune to the usual rot. The Oscar winner in a diamond-studded gown, the country singer with an accent you could bottle, gliding into gala after gala, always hand in hand, always impossibly in love. But as of this moment, all of that is lying in pieces across the polished floors of a Tennessee mansion. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban not just separated, but careening toward a divorce fight.
This shocked, I think, a lot of people earlier in the week. So we did a story that Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman, after almost 20 years of marriage, they would have celebrated their 20th anniversary in 2026, that they had separated, but that we were told Nicole really still wanted to try and make the marriage work.
With $325 million in play, a trail of properties worth $56 million, and a clause in their prenup that would send most people sprinting for the witness protection program. They called it the powder clause, a little insurance policy Nicole's lawyers demanded after years of watching Keith stumble from one tabloid headline to the next, sometimes clutching a guitar, sometimes something much less wholesome. That clause, locked deep inside their 2006 prenup, has now stormed into the spotlight. And frankly, it's about to get ugly.
Nobody else was surprised. I was surprised. I think the fans are surprised. The public at large is surprised, especially because they're so ubiquitous. I mean, they are really everywhere all the time. But they have not been living together for months, apparently.
Muttering about betrayal and unhealed wounds, Nicole's September 30th filing in Nashville wasn't just a formality. It was the opening salvo of an all-out legal war, dropped only hours after Keith packed up his jeans, guitars, and whatever dignity he had left, vanishing from their $4 million home. In that moment, the mask slipped. Suddenly, every glossy magazine spread and red carpet kiss over the past 18 years felt like a fever dream. Because behind closed doors, this marriage had been quietly circling the drain for months.
And she was kind of gaslighted by it all. Is that the way you see it too, or understand this, that he was the one who actually, and she was a bit surprised by it, or?
That's what all the reports are saying that are coming out now. So, of course, as soon as I heard this news, I was like, okay, first Hugh Jackman and now Nicole Kidman.
5 days later, Keith had gone silent. Not the poetic kind of silence either, the kind where he moved out, stopped answering, and left Nicole clutching at a ghost. Fast forward a handful of weeks, and we find Nicole in Nashville, not on a red carpet, but pounding the hiking trails in tight leggings and sunglasses, messy hair crammed under a baseball cap, her sister Antonia shadowing her step for step.
I'm doing that more. And I say that to other people in the world, yes, and particularly women, I think. We tend not to take her.
The casual getup did little to hide the shock. Photographers caught her laughing, then dropping her head, her hand on her heart. A woman balancing the world's sympathy on one shoulder and a mountain of humiliation on the other. The gossip columns were merciless, dubbing Antonia her rock, as Nicole's private disaster went public, with the entire Kidman clan rallying behind her, desperately trying to insulate her from the daily fire hose of new rumors.
In my choices, there's no method to the madness. There's just a lot of spontaneity and then the desire to always go and do something that I feel excited about. Because time, as you get older...
The truth is, Nicole did not want this. If sources close to her are to be believed, she'd been fighting for the marriage even as Keith was already half out the door. According to insiders, she was shocked, and that's the polite version, after almost 2 decades of standing by him, from his first stint in rehab, just 4 months into their marriage, to those painful nights when whispers of infidelity and old vices resurfaced. Nicole had become a master at crisis management, and she needed every ounce of that skill now because the narrative was spiraling. This time, Keith wasn't just gone. He was apparently done. No more hand-holding at award shows, no more speeches about meeting a real-life princess, just a rented house in Nashville, a calendar full of tour dates, and, if the grapevine is to be trusted, a new companion already waiting in the wings. Which brings us, with all the subtlety of a wrecking ball, to the new round of betrayal rumors. We've all heard the Nashville talk. Keith had grown unhappy with the lack of intimacy. And now, a source claims he's already moved on with someone younger in the music business. No names at first, just the usual coded language, but then came the concert in Hershey, Pennsylvania, the one where Keith picked up his guitar and, in a move that set the rumor mill ablaze, rewrote the lyrics of his hit, The Fighter. He swapped out Baby for Maggie Baugh, his 25-year-old guitarist, the one already nursing a boyfriend but strangely silent as her name pinged around the internet The performance, caught on fan video and blasted across social feeds, landed less than 24 hours before the divorce news broke. Was it just a musician thing? Maggie's father seems to think so, but when your daughter's name is trending alongside the phrase homewrecker and your soon-to-be ex-son-in-law is suddenly single, explanations get slippery. Every swirling headline and every breathless tweet, the ghost of Keith's old demons kept peeking through. We can't ignore the powder clause, the clause that Nicole's legal team insisted on, written precisely because of his high-profile battles with substances. For years, Keith has spoken openly about the stints in rehab, the chaos that almost destroyed them in the first year, the infamous interventions staged by Nicole and his friends after a particularly wild tour. "I was very, very blessed to have Nick call an intervention on me," he told Rolling Stone once, sounding like a man relieved to be alive. But as insiders remind us, the clause is crystal clear. Keith only gets paid if he stays clean. According to reports, for every year of sobriety, he was entitled to $900,000. But one relapse, and that pot of gold might vanish like last night's applause. That's the sword now hanging over this entire circus. Was Keith's abrupt exit, his band shakeups, the swerve into younger company, all just symptoms of a classic midlife spiral? Or was it something deeper, darker, with the powder clause suddenly the trump card Nicole can play in court? Some of their closest friends seem to think so, and they whisper about his abrupt firing of a 25-year band, about a new house filled with silence instead of family chaos, about a man not just seeking freedom, but running from something inside himself. One Nashville source put it bluntly, sometimes relationships just run their course, but when you layer in millions of dollars, a superstar's reputation, and the threat of having your whole romantic history dissected in a courtroom, running its course feels a lot more like a demolition. Left with questions no one's eager to answer. Did Keith's rumored new flame ever really light? Was the onstage shout-out just showbiz bravado, or a deliberate shot across the bow? More importantly, will the shadows of Keith's past, his years of chaos, the relapse that almost torpedoed their marriage before it ever really began, now give Nicole the ammunition she needs to take him to the cleaners? Or are we just witnessing the loudest, messiest chapter yet in a story that was always headed for disaster? The money in this battle isn't just staggering, it's a character of its own, strutting through every hallway and legal filing, demanding to be counted. At the very heart of this feud sits a property empire that would make a hedge fund manager blush. We're talking about a grand tour of luxury. The Nashville mansion with its private recording studio, where platinum records once lined the walls. The sprawling Australian retreat, set behind gates thick enough to keep even the boldest paparazzi out. The sleek Manhattan penthouse, high above the city where Nicole ruled as the world's highest paid actress. London apartments, Sydney hideaways, and vacation homes across 3 continents. Together, 11 addresses, $56 million worth of bricks, and glass, and memories. But in this legal arena, a memory is just another thing to leverage. Nicole, through her attorneys, is rumored to be treating each home as ammunition, bargaining chips she can cash in, or use to force concessions. Every mansion, every square foot of hardwood or marble, comes with a history. Insiders from Nicole's camp have been floating word of a lawsuit, separate from the divorce, something that would target Keith not just for financial claims, but for what one source called his rampage. The word itself is loaded, hinting at everything from financial recklessness to personal misconduct. It's clear Nicole isn't playing for a dignified exit. She's coming for accountability, maybe vengeance, and possibly a legal drama that will keep court reporters busy for months. We've seen her survive the Tom Cruise fallout, an ordeal that would have left lesser stars in ruins. Now, after holding it together for 18 years, she's reportedly using the wounds from her first public split as rocket fuel for this one. For Nicole, this isn't just survival. It's about rewriting the ending. Her divorce papers demand primary custody of Sunday Rose and Faith Margaret, a signal that she's out to claim moral as well as financial high ground. If she can frame Keith's behavior as erratic, self-indulgent, or crucially, unsafe, it's not just about assets, but who gets to walk away with the daughters at her side.